Hello everyone, welcome to the Weeb initiative. I am your host, the Weeb. This is the show where every other week I'll be talking about anime, manga, and so on and so forth, everything in between. This episode is the pilot to the show, so it's bound to be scuffed, way more scuffed than the most of the episodes going forward, I hope. And well, let's just get into it, I guess. And this week we will be talking about Minamoto-kun Monogatari. It's a manga only. It unfortunately doesn't have an anime as of yet. So first off, let's start with disclaimers, right? So disclaimer number 1, it's a spoiler alert. I will probably spoiler most, if not all, of the story. I will not go through every single interaction between characters and situations they go on, but I will talk about most of the manga, most of the story in broad strokes. Based on that, I can guess it will end up messing up the experience of some people with it, so I will first tell you that as a spoiler alert. Second disclaimer is that well, this is a pilot, so it is bound to be more scuffed. I don't know how the show will grow, but then again, I will break the narrative in most parts so that I can explain something, I can get to some real point I want to make. And also another specific to this episode, the cover to the thumbnail to this episode was chosen one of the covers of the volumes of the manga, and I did choose that one specific because one of the covers in the volumes really does spoil the fun of the manga. After you know the premise, you can get spoiled ahead really hard. I got spoiled myself because I went to search for the anime and ended up just seeing it, and I noticed the spoil right on. I will talk about it, but that's another disclaimer. I did choose the third volume as the thumbnail because the girl in this cover is the best design to a character I saw in, I don't know, like years, I think. I don't know, man. It just hits the right spots. Another thing, this I will get to this, but the manga is based off of a book, but the book itself does not give spoilers. At the very least, I started the audiobook like 2 weeks ago, and it's an 8-hour book. It's 14 chapters, and really, it's really hard to listen to it. It's was originally written in classic Japanese, I think it's called in English, and the translation, not that it's bad, but to follow the story you need to really pay attention on it. So I really think it's one of the examples of a manga, of a show nowadays that I really, really recommend. One of the things I want to cover in the show, that is it's a manga, it's an anime that has something more to it other than what you see. It's something that shows another part of the culture, of the roots it was created on. So this book is a really important book. I will get to that. Actually, now that I see my script, it's not really a script, bullet points, but okay. Let's just start, right? So the premise to the manga is based off the idea, the story, the happenings in a book published in the Heian era. It's credited to Murasaki Shikubu, also known as Lady Murasaki in English. And given the inaccuracy of the historical documentation of the novel itself, she is believed to also have been Fujiwara no Kaoriko, cited on the 1007 court diary of the Imperial as a Imperial lady in waiting. This is also good time to say, aside from this being a very scuffed podcast and episode, I am still figuring out how I will do this whole thing. So I'll do some light editing to the audio, mainly things towards audio quality and so on and so forth, but I am a bit nervous. I'm recording I would not say a bad ambient to record it, but it's 4 o'clock in the morning. It's Saturday, actually Sunday now, right? So yeah, really scuffed. And also, I'm very nervous. I don't talk in public too much. And as you may have already guessed, English is not my first language. So I have kind of good practice with it, but I have to think yet to really say what I'm thinking. So anyways, back to the thing. So it was written, credited to Murasaki Shikubu. She's one, I don't think it's the first, but one of the first female authors in Japan to be credited to a classic book so important as Genji Monogatari. That is, I think that's a real good tidbit. It's a historical reference. The book is available nowadays. Even I'm listening through LibriVox, which is a public domain audiobook library, and I think that's a really nice thing to know. It's a really good tidbit, and also shows a lot of the culture by the time it was written. So that's the premise. The manga is based off of it. So getting to the manga, right? So Genji is the main protagonist in the book. He's the how do you say that in English? It's he's the son of the emperor, but one of his concubines, not the empress. It's herself, and he's kind of adopted by the emperor in the book. His mother dies really early, so he does not have this connection with his mother. Really, she died really early in his life, so basically Genji does not know his mom, basically. And the premise of the book, as of the manga, is that Genji gets, that's the the strange part, gets loved by 14 ladies by the end of it. And loved in this way is really a stretch of the word. It's at the very least, take this as someone who did not finish the book yet, and someone who just read the manga. It's kind of stretching the manga, so it may not be really the thing in the book, but he gets loved in 14 different ways. Each of his lovers loved him in some way. So the love at first sight, the love for one night, the love you feel for a teacher, a mentor, a parent, someone that loves you towards support, loves to support you, and so on and so forth. So that taken out of the way, the book does not spoil you on the manga. If you care about the manga, the book does not spoil you. I think it's additional things you may want to learn. So let's start with the manga itself, right? The manga was written by, and again, Wikipedia here. You may even hear my mouse going through my tabs, because this is a scuffed show. My mic's pretty good, but it does get some of the outside noises. So let's go. The manga was written by Minori Inaba Minori. I think it's the better way to say it. The family name first. It was published by Shueisha. I don't know. The magazine is Weekly Young Jump. In case you want to know, I don't know. Maybe you want to know that. Whatever. Original run was September of 2011 until September 2019. So the ending was pretty recent, I would say. And it has 16 volumes. It's 360 chapters with 9 or 8 or 9 pages each. And well, we will talk about that later, but this paints a bad picture in my opinion. But well, anyways, so what's the manga about? The manga is about this guy who starts college. First chapter, he's starting college. He goes to live with his aunt in the city. His mother passed away. I would say it's the more, let's tone it down, right? She passed when he was really, really young. So I think they say it's when he's 2. I think earlier, I don't know. His father's still around, but and this is a thing that towards the end of the manga, you need to remember that. When I finished it, I didn't remember it. I had to understand it later through forums and so on and so forth. But his father's remarrying as he enters university, and he goes to live with his aunt because it's closer to the university, and also his aunt is a professor in the university. So Terumi Minamoto, which is Minamoto-kun in the title. Minamoto, as a reference to the book, Minamoto is the name that Genji is demoted to, I would say, because in the book Genji is demoted to a commoner and earns the surname Minamoto. So there's this reference to the book, and his aunt is Fujiwara Kaoruko, which is I don't know if it's a reference. The kanji in Wikipedia is pretty bad, so I can't confirm it, but I think it's the same kanji. If you get Fujiwara Kaoruko and Fujiwara no Kaoriko, hold on, Kaoriko, yes. So I think it's a play on words, play on kanji. I don't know Japanese well enough to see the wordplay there, but it sounds basically the same, so you get it. And okay, he can live there, right? But in the first chapter, you already get the whole picture of the thing. She is a professor at the university. What's her theme? Genji Monogatari, which is the book the manga is based out of. What's her research, you ask? Well, boys, he wants him, Terumi, to relive Genji Monogatari in real life, but with added bonus that Kaoruko wants to fulfill the love. It's really not well explained, I would say. At the very least, it's not well explicit in the manga. But anyways, so that's the picture. First chapter already goes off the rails. He can live there with her, but with the condition that he will be her subject in the research, because she wants to see him live. Why? Read the manga, man. I don't want to spoil it quite yet. So, next thing. So, right, you just got, he's living there, 14 girls, and yeah, that's, I don't think I mentioned it, but in the manga, in the book, right, Genji gets loved by 14 girls, and Kaoruko wants Terumi to be loved by 14 girls, but the whole thing, till the late night. So disclaimer, get down from the narrative to go back to real life. So this podcast is being published on YouTube also, in case you are listening to this through Spotify or some other podcast platform. This is the same audio I will use in the video podcast on YouTube. Meaning video podcast, meaning that it will be published in a video form. Not saying that it will be recorded as a video. Because I don't have an editor, I don't have editing skills, nor time, and I have to use YouTube safe words. I mean, I don't know if Spotify or other platforms will cancel me for this, but I think I have to say it. I think it's best that I say it right from the start. So anyways, so my terminologies will get pretty creative towards some topics, right? So she wants him to be loved till the next morning, if you know what I mean. And that's the thing. That's the premise in which the manga goes. But there's a catch, right? Because there's no way you just get a harem manga which is Just, oh right, so I want you to get 14 girls. To to the author's credit, the catch is pretty good actually. Terumi starts the story with genophobia. I think that's the way you pronounce that in English. I may be wrong. So genophobia is the fear of women, and they go pretty deep. Pretty deep, I mean, kinda. They show a lot of what's happening, but they don't show the repercussion. Like, they show the act, but not the reaction. That he suffers bullying through middle school from female colleagues, and he eventually develops genophobia and enters. But also to the credit of Terumi as a main character, he knows about his own problems, and he wants to improve. He wants it to be cured, and Kaoruko says she will get him cured. So I give credit to him as a harem manga main character, protagonist, because he looks for improvement. He looks for solution to the problem right from the get-go, and I can get behind that. I think that's a pretty good thing to the character. I mean, to the character development. So, anyways, after the genophobia thing, I need to give some pretext to Genji Monogatari, I think. That's what's written in my script, I don't know, man. So, Genji Monogatari has 14 chapters, has 14 girls, and there's this whole shebang where he gets loved and so on and so forth. So, now presentations are done, I can start going through the manga itself. So, author of the manga, again, Inaba Minori. The manga basically went through 8 years, 2011 through 2019. So the manga goes 16 volumes deep. There are 14 targets. There are some girls and characters that appear that are supporting casts. There's one girl that appears. And again, spoiler alert. Already told you. Spoiler alert. There's one girl that's not a target that kinda hints that she loves him, but that's pretty shallow. I mean, you can say 14 girls loving him, it's pretty shallow, but then again, love in this context is pretty stretched, so let's just roll a bit. So there's one girl that's the cornerstone. I don't know, it's the... At the moment he confronts her, he already is pretty grown up, so the confrontation doesn't actually happen. I mean, there are multiple confrontations with this one girl, and okay. Spoilers. She is the one who bullied him through middle school. So, anyways, there's this one girl who is not a target, who is important to the story. The 14 girls who are important to the story are based on the descriptions of the girls in Genji Monogatari. So there is one girl that's the one night stand. There is one girl that he tries to go through a more developed relationship, but it ends up just not sparking it. the girl just dumps him eventually. There is one girl which goes to him through the next morning, but she doesn't want anything to it. Like she done one time and that's about it. And that's all. I have the just 1 second before I get here. So okay, in order of the girls, this will be the names of base of the book. I will not use the names in the manga because that's too much spoilers. I think I don't know. My thought process. I think the book's way farther away from the normal person than the manga, so it's easier to me to use the book name because it's harder to a person listening to this to know the name of the girl in the book rather than the girl in the manga. So let's go. So first one is Asagao Aoi no Ue Hanachi. Oh boy, this one is a big one. Hanachiru Sato. Hanachiru Sato. Oh boy, I'm trying not to butcher it, but boy, oh boy, this is hard. Rokujo no Kimi, Murasaki, Utsusemi, Yugao. Oh boy. Oh no. Suetsumuhana. Sure. I think I just butchered that. Naishi no Suke. Oh boy. Tamakazura. Oborozukyo. Onasan no Miya. Akashi no Kata. And the last one is Fujitsubo. So, after butchering that and going through all that thing, reading through Wikipedia, I would just say Aoi no Ue is the second girl. She is stacked. She's the girl in the thumbnail. She's stacked. She is so beautiful. It's one of the best character designs I've seen in a manga, in a romance manga, in so many years. I don't know why. I don't know how. But it just hits, man. It just hits the right places. So, anyways, now that I talk to you about targets, so let's start with the butchering of the story of the whole, I don't know, pacing. So when you read a manga, there's this thing where if you know that manga is already completed and there's no extras to it, there's no new things coming out to it, what's basically happens is that you kind of get this notion of where this goes with the time he has. So again, 9 pages to 360 chapters means there are 3,240 pages drawn to this manga. I'm not saying it's not valid. I think it's a good quantity. I think it's comparable to other romances, but again, 9 pages for each chapter is way too low to develop some things, in my opinion, my humble opinion. And from the get-go, I knew I would be rushed to the end. And that's the thing where the story will chug through the last chunk of it. So you can kind of see when you hit the middle of manga, of anime. Anime is a different structure because of the way they produce it and so on and so forth. But manga in specific, when you know there's an end to it, and you see how many chapters it has to develop the ending, then you know that, man, it will be rushed. Rushed means, in case this terminology is not used where you leave, rushed, to me at the very least, is when you see all these plot points in the air, all this development that was presented to you, and it just will vanish because the author just wants to finish the story in a way or the other. There are cases where the manga is what we call X'd, where it's cancelled basically, but to me at the very least, Minamoto-kun Monogatari was not cancelled. I don't think it was. 8 years in production in fairly known magazines such as Jump. You gotta know that there's something off, right? So I don't know, man. It just hit me when I saw 9 pages to 360 chapters, man. Just remember, it hurts so much. Oh boy. So anyways, I knew from the get-go I was going to get rushed, and I knew at the very least from the tags that it had smooch, which is not the most important. I mean, I know there are sites that are specialized mediums to get it, but at the same time, like, I am getting back to real world. I read manga and I watch anime to find an honest story. How can I say it? I want a story made not toward all adults, not really, I think, but it has to have sustenance towards romance and some action, or just a fairly competent romance. And this, to me, in the way it shows the smooch, the romance, the interactions between Terumi and the girls, and the rolling around that it has, I think it's pretty competent. So anyways, getting back to it. So having smooch is a good thing, but at the same time it's not necessary. I make this a good important point because I think that some people just get turned off by it. I have a friend who does not watch romance whatsoever, if the anime or the manga does not have superpowers and people beating each other, he just drops it right out the gate. That's fair. I don't judge it, but at the same time, I think it's turning off a good chunk of it. Good, to my opinion, a good. Some of the best I have read have smooch, have romance, but anyways. So, oh boy, it's so late, so late in the morning, so late in the night, I think, and I'm getting really out of it. So let's chug along. I still have 25 minutes of it. So it has smooch. It's what it is called seinen, this genre, where it's aimed at a kind of young adult, 20s, 30s, early 30s, right? Just a tidbit I would like to add. I think that's it's the least known genre of manga, anime, and so on. It's something that I've seen in the past few years going strong, but not strong as I would like. The romance in it, I think that to me, the first girl, which is Asagao, is she's the one who's introduced the first. She has the most time in the spotlight as target. But then again, I don't like her character as well in the most of it, because it reaches a point that she just turns me off. I don't know, man. It reaches a point where she's undecisive towards Terumi and if she likes him or not, and I don't quite like it. I don't know, man. It's I mean, indecision is part of life, right? But at the same time, she goes through so much stuff with him, and it just does not click the way she acts. I don't know, that's my take. I will not talk about all the girls, but I will say Aoi Noe is it's not even a cornerstone. She's a turning point in the story. It's the first time he really feels powerless. It's amazing. I almost smashed my phone on that. Oh, right. Talking about phones. Right. So, this is an important point towards the continuation of the show. So some manga I will review here, and some anime do not have translations to English or any other languages officially. This is one that is in Scandination only. Scandination is some fans just get the manga reel, the manga, scan it, send it through Photoshop, rewrite it on their own languages, and so on and so forth. This is one of the cases that it does not have an official translation. It's not published outside of Japan. To me, it's a shame. It's a shame, and I don't know, man. It's an important thing because then we enter the piracy into whether or not it's right to scanlate or not. Not something I want to touch on, but something that I feel like I need to to say right from the get-go. This is one of the cases that I had to read the scanlation because it does not have anything outside of Japan. I never seen it sold outside of Japan too. So there you go. Next thing on the list, it's, oh boy, here you go. So one of the things that I let's say research in me watching anime and so on is the fact that I watch a lot of harem anime because I don't know, it just works. I think it just works most of the time, right? There are some harem anime that are obnoxious, hideous even, but this is one that I want to say it has the harem factor. Harem factor is a term I coined that it says about the fact that a harem cannot be composed of the same type of girl given an anime or a manga. So it has to have a blonde girl, a Japanese center girl, the placeholder lolly, and then you go from there. The placeholder lolly, the blonde, and the Japanese one are the most used three. There's also the obligatory redhead, but it oh boy, just saying that out loud is so bad. Oh boy, but you get what I'm saying. If you ever watched Trinity 7, High School DxD, High School of the Dead, Data Live, and so on, you know what I'm talking about. Each harem has to have each girl having a distinctive characteristic, at the very least, in the body, physical or mental. So tsundere, dere, kudere, and so on. And to the credit of Inaba Minori, it has the harem factor, but you can see and feel from the story that the romance does not evolve towards a harem. Actually, it really is a romance one at a time, although there are 14 girls, and at some points he double times the girls. You can see that he has a focus on the romance and not the harem itself. So nice point on that. And also because the way of how it was written, again, 9 pages, 360 chapters, it has no fillers. Has no fillers is it's kind of a stretch, but it's granted. All the interactions outside of the story are to introduce another girl, or to give, let's say, character development specifically to Terumi, because he needs to learn some things. I mean, I can't explain this in a podcast, or at the very least I can't explain this in a podcast on YouTube, but he needs experience, and sometimes he needs to bang his head against the wall to get some things right. Oh boy, this is getting terrible. Okay, so this is the part. So I talked about the premises. We went through the presentation of the manga, the idea, the premises, the book it was based out of, some of the characters, some of the story, and now I get to the part where, boy oh boy, here's the subjective part, which may or may not rile people the comments. Oh boy, I really hope I rile people in the comments. Let's go to the opinion part. So, I don't like to hate. It's rating something. It's a placeholder to the need that we have to measure things in a scale. And to me, rating a romance specifically manga, it's kind of pointless because even especially on this case, that the journey is better than the ending. Because if you ever read things like Nisekoi, or let me see if I can remember something else. Nisekoi or quintessential quintuplets. If you ever read something like that, you know that the ending is more important than the journey. Minamoto-kun is not that. Minamoto-kun is about the journey. It's about meeting the girls. It's about seeing Terumi grow up. It does not look towards who's the final girl, who he will hook up with at the end of it. It looks so much more towards the way he gets there, the way he changes himself and the girls around him, the relationship. And to me, that kind of disables my ability to judge it. Boy, this came out wrong. Judge it? Oh boy. But I think I need to give a rating. So I've drawn up some metrics just to give a placeholder really to my recommendation or not. So first thing, in a manga, one of the things that really pushes me towards reading or not reading a manga is design. I have to say that design is 10 out of 10. Perfect A++, S tier, God tier. I don't even have words for it. Like I said, the girl who I chose to be the thumbnail of this episode, I don't know why, but her design is just out of this world. I don't know. I don't really know. I can't get why. But she's the best example I can give you of why the design of this manga is so good. The second one is the last girl, which is Fujimitsu. Oh boy, here I go again. Fujitsubu. I butchered that hard. Fujitsubu, who's the last girl. She basically, oh boy, she changed my view on some things that I can't really explain why. But anyways, matter of fact, design on this really nice, really nice. So next thing, story. As I said before, I knew from the get-go I was getting rushed. I knew from the get-go it would have not a bad ending, but the ending would be presented in a bad way. And yeah, I knew it from the get-go, and I got it. I really got it. The last 4 chapters are really thrown together. It's a real mess. To that, I have to say, 90% of the time it's really competent. It's not bad in any ways. The rush is real, but 90% of it's not, and the 90% is more important than the 10%. So I have to give it the competent grade that is 7 out of 10. So for, let's see here. So for what I'm calling challenge in these ways, how can I say it? It's the way in which the story engages you. If it is easy to read, it's easy to follow, it does not present stakes to the characters. It's basically in a shonen anime, let's say. It's the protagonist won't die. For a fact the protagonist will not die. It doesn't matter how, but he will not stop existing. Be it by revival, be it by plot armor, be it by someone just plot convenience, someone just showing up in the right moment. From that. And to me, Minamoto-kun, from that, it does not foreshadow much, although it does foreshadow something. And from that, I have to say it's fairly comfortable, because it does not challenge you to think how things will turn out, but at the same time it kinda does. I give it a 6 out of 10. I don't know if my explanation is good on that, but then again, it's just an opinion. Now, for my favorite part, spiciness level. The spiciness level is towards the fact that it has smooch, and it has this thing where romance, how hard they go, how far they go with it. To me, it's a 6 out of 10. But I could see, in an objective standpoint, the fact that it has a smooch is an out of 10. It's not near the specialized type of thing, but it's very close. That's the most explanation I can give on that. Anyways, so next thing is the girls. It's herself. I don't know. I don't think that's something I can say. Herself. Oh boy, that's bad. Anyways, so there are girls who have no development whatsoever. There is the one girl who is the one night thing. She does not have much time in the limelight, but I could see someone really liking her. Her design is pretty good also. Not my favorite, not my second, third, but I can see that. There are parts, and as I said, placeholder lolly is the name of the game. It's just something that happens in Japan. I don't know why. It's a thing, cultural thing. I don't know. There are 2 lollies. I get this out already. He does not do anything with them. Just saying, right? Because boy oh boy, would I ever talk about something like this. But then again, there are 2 placeholder lollies. He's just the teacher for them. The whole thing. He's just a teacher. Terumi, I mean, right? And I don't know, right? Some of the girls have some weird relationships with Terumi, but at the same time, some of the girls really have really nice relationships with him. There is an yandere in there, which is hit or miss if you like it or not. So I reserve judgment on that. I know for a fact, and this is the final part of the show because it's already been stretched towards nearly an hour. It's 5 in the morning already. The ending I hate with every fiber of my being. I hate the ending. It's really, really bad. So bad, but so bad, I had to go to forums to know what was happening in the end. Because boy, those last four chapters will hit you like a truck, and you don't even know what was the manufacturer. Because really, I don't know what happened. I don't know what the contract was with the publisher, but God, it's so confusing. It just throws so much at you in such a short time. It's really, really, really obnoxious. And I mean, I will not say the ending, okay? I will not say the ending. I will say again, go read it. It's a really good read. It's oh boy, it's really good. Trust me on that. I know I can't vouch because this is the first episode. I'm not known on the internet, but again, it's really good to read the 9%, the 10%, the 10%. I mean, the rush in the end, it's pretty bad. But then again, read it. Be confused like me. Go to the forums, see how people reacted to the ending, and ask yourself the question. Or if your platform has space for commentaries, or even if you downloaded this, I don't know. Comment says what the heck? Like, I don't know, man. I'm not the one who wrote this. I just know I hate the ending. So that's enough of me, I guess. 57 minutes, maybe less. I don't know. It's what's here in my recording software. So I would like to thank you for listening. If you listened to this part of the episode, I really thank you. I hope you stick around to hear more of my scuffed voice, scuffed in English, and from what I can hear outside my room, the birds outside. So thank you again. If you are on YouTube, please subscribe. If you are on Spotify, please follow me. I don't know if stick around. I see you guys next time.